My beloved child, I see the quiet battles inside your heart, the thoughts you try to hide, the worries that visit you in the silence of the night, the questions that echo when the world becomes still. You carry more than you show. You smile, you continue your day, you try to appear strong, yet deep within, something keeps whispering, what if things never change? Pause for a moment and listen closely. What you are feeling right now does not define your future. The weight on your shoulders may feel heavy, but it is not stronger than the one who walks beside you. Not even close. There are moments when anxiety tries to convince you that you are alone, that the path ahead is uncertain, that the answers are far away. But look deeper. Behind every quiet breath you take, there is a strength being prepared within you. A calm that you have not fully discovered yet. A peace that does not come from the world, but from something far greater. And here is the part many people miss. The very thing that is making your heart restless today may be the doorway to a transformation you never expected. The pressure you feel is not the end of your story, it may be the moment just before clarity arrives. So do not rush away from this moment. Don't skip what your soul needs to hear. Stay with these words, because something meaningful is unfolding for you right now, something that could shift the way you see every worry you carry. And in the next moment, you will understand the one simple step that can turn anxiety into quiet strength. My beloved child, I see the weight you are carrying even when no one else notices. The silent worries, the thoughts that return again and again, the quiet questions that sit in your heart when the world around you becomes still. You try to stay strong. You move through your day, you handle responsibilities, you keep going forward, but inside, there are moments when anxiety whispers that things may be too heavy for you to hold. Pause here with me for a moment. Take a slow breath and listen closely, because what you are about to realize may change the way you see everything that troubles you tonight. The thing that is making your heart restless right now, the uncertainty, the pressure, the feeling that something is out of your control, none of it is greater than the strength that surrounds your life. Not even close. Sometimes anxiety grows when you try to carry every burden alone. When you believe that every answer must come from your own effort, your own timing, your own understanding. But there is a quiet truth many people overlook. You were never meant to hold every weight by yourself. There is a strength greater than your worries, a peace deeper than your fears, and it becomes real the moment you decide to release what you cannot control. Something powerful begins the moment you do that. So don't skip this moment. Stay with me, because in the next part you will discover why the very anxiety you feel right now may actually be the signal that something important is about to shift in your life. Listen carefully for a moment, because something important is unfolding right now inside your heart. Anxiety often arrives quietly. It does not knock loudly. It simply appears in your thoughts, repeating questions, creating tension, making you feel as if the future is uncertain and fragile. But here is the truth many people overlook. The moment you feel overwhelmed is often the moment when you are standing closest to discovering a deeper strength within you. What feels like pressure is sometimes an invitation to pause, to breathe, and to remember that you do not have to solve every tomorrow tonight. Think about this carefully. How many times have you worried about something that later found its own path forward? How many nights felt heavy, yet the morning still came with new light? There is a reason for that. Because the strength guiding your life has always been greater than the worries passing through your mind. And right now, even if you cannot see it clearly, something gentle is being prepared for you. A shift in perspective. A calm you did not expect. A quiet answer that arrives at the right moment. So stay here for a little longer. Don't skip ahead in your thoughts. Something meaningful is waiting just beyond this moment, and in the next part, you will begin to understand the simple but powerful step that turns anxious thoughts into quiet trust. But here is the moment many people never realize until much later in their journey. Anxiety often grows when your mind keeps trying to control what was never meant to be controlled. You replay situations, imagine every possible outcome, and carry questions that have not even reached tomorrow yet. And slowly, the weight begins to feel heavier. Yet there is a quiet secret hidden in the middle of all that tension. The moment you release what you cannot hold, something inside you begins to breathe again. Not because every situation suddenly changes, but because your heart remembers a powerful truth: you are not walking through life alone. There is a strength beyond your understanding that sees the paths you cannot see yet. A wisdom that moves even when you feel uncertain. A calm presence that remains steady while your thoughts try to race ahead. This is why giving your worries to Him is not weakness. It is trust. It is the quiet decision to say, I will do my part, but I will not carry the weight of everything. And when that decision happens, something remarkable begins to unfold inside you. The noise in your mind slowly softens. The pressure loosens its grip. Your heart finds space to breathe again. But don't move away from this message just yet. Stay till the end, because the next part reveals a realization that very few people notice, and once you see it, the way you face anxiety may never be the same again. But there is a moment most people pass through without even noticing. It is the quiet second when your heart pauses, when your mind finally grows tired of carrying every question, when you whisper inside yourself, I cannot hold all of this anymore. That moment is not defeat. It is the doorway. Because the instant you stop gripping every worry so tightly, something gentle begins to happen within you. The storm of thoughts loses its power. The pressure that once felt endless starts to loosen. You may not see a sudden change around you yet, but something deeper begins shifting inside your spirit. And that change matters more than you realize. When you give your worries to Him, you are not ignoring your situation. You are placing it into hands stronger than your fears, wiser than your plans, and calmer than your anxious thoughts. Think about that carefully. The same strength that carries the rhythm of every sunrise and every quiet night is fully capable of carrying the concerns resting in your heart today. So breathe slowly and listen. You do not need to have every answer right now. You do not need to force tomorrow to reveal itself today. All you need is the courage to release what was never meant to stay in your hands forever. Stay with this message, because in the next part, you will discover something surprising about anxiety itself, something that could completely change the way you see the worries that visit your mind. And here is something surprising that very few people ever notice. Anxiety often appears when your heart is standing at the edge of something new. When life is shifting, when growth is quietly beginning, when the next chapter is preparing to unfold even if you cannot see the pages yet. Your mind senses the unknown, and it reacts with questions. But the unknown is not always something to fear. Sometimes it is the very place where the most meaningful changes begin. Think about the moments in your life when you felt uncertain but later realized that those seasons were guiding you somewhere important. At the time, it felt overwhelming. Yet looking back, you can see that something was quietly working in your favor. The same possibility exists right now. The worry that fills your thoughts today may simply be the space between where you are and where you are meant to grow. And when you place that uncertainty into His hands, you allow something powerful to happen. Your heart no longer fights every question. Instead, it begins to trust that even the unseen path has guidance. This is where true calm begins to form. Not because every answer arrives instantly, but because your spirit realizes it does not need to carry every unknown alone. So stay with this message a little longer. Don't skip away from this moment. Because in the next part, you will discover a quiet truth that can instantly soften the grip of anxiety, a truth that many people search for their entire lives without realizing it has been near them all along. And now, there is a quiet truth that many hearts overlook. Anxiety often speaks the loudest when you forget how much strength has already carried you this far. Think about your life for a moment. There were days you thought you would not make it through. Nights when your mind was full of questions. Moments when the path ahead seemed unclear. Yet somehow, you are still here. Still breathing. Still moving forward. Still searching for light. That is not an accident. It is a reminder that the same strength guiding you through those moments is still present with you now. Even when your thoughts feel heavy, even when your heart feels uncertain. You may not see the full picture yet, but something steady is holding the pieces of your life together in ways you cannot always notice. And this is why giving your anxiety to Him is not about escaping reality. It is about remembering that the story of your life is bigger than this single moment of worry. There is a plan unfolding in quiet ways. There is guidance moving even when your mind cannot trace the path. So stay here for a little longer. Because in the next part, something deeply personal will be revealed, a realization about your own heart that may change the way you carry every worry from this moment forward. There is something deeply personal you need to realize about your own heart. You were never created to live every moment under the shadow of worry. Your spirit was designed for peace, for quiet confidence, for the kind of strength that does not depend on perfect circumstances. Yet sometimes life places questions in front of you that feel bigger than your understanding. And when that happens, your mind tries to solve everything at once. It searches for answers, it imagines outcomes, it tries to protect you from uncertainty. But in doing so, it forgets something important. Peace does not come from controlling every detail. It comes from trusting that even the details you cannot control are still being held by something greater than your fears. Right now, the anxiety you feel may be asking you to pause, to breathe, to remember that you do not need to carry the future all at once. One step is enough. One quiet moment of trust is enough. One small decision to place your worries into stronger hands is enough to begin changing the atmosphere inside your heart. And when that shift happens, something remarkable begins to unfold. The noise softens. The pressure fades. your thoughts begin to slow down. But stay with this message, because what comes next may be the most important realization of all, a simple moment that can transform the way you face every anxious thought from this day forward. And here is the moment that changes everything if you allow it. Right now, in this very second, you have a choice that is far more powerful than you realize. You can continue holding every worry tightly, letting your mind circle around questions that have not even happened yet. Or you can gently release them. Not by pretending the challenges do not exist, but by placing them somewhere stronger than your own understanding. Imagine for a moment what would happen if you simply paused, took a slow breath, and said within your heart, "This weight is no longer mine to carry alone." Something remarkable begins in that quiet surrender. Your mind stops racing quite as fast. Your shoulders loosen. Your heart discovers a space where calm can finally enter. It may feel small at first, almost like a whisper of peace. But that whisper grows stronger each time you choose trust over fear, each time you remember that the strength guiding your life is greater than the uncertainty surrounding you. And here is the part most people never expect. When you release anxiety into His hands, you also make room for something new to enter your life: clarity, courage, and a quiet confidence that was hidden beneath the weight you were carrying. Stay with this message, because the next moment reveals something even deeper, a realization about your future that may completely transform the way you see the struggles of today. And now, there is something about your future you may not have considered. The worries filling your mind today are only a small moment in a much larger story that is still unfolding. Right now, you see the questions, the uncertainty, the weight of what feels unresolved. But the next chapters of your life are still being written. There are moments ahead that will bring clarity where confusion once lived. There are quiet victories waiting that you cannot see from where you stand today. There are days coming when the very thing that once made you anxious will feel much smaller than it does right now. This is why releasing your worries matters so deeply. When you hold them too tightly, they cloud your vision. They make the present feel heavier than it truly is. They whisper that everything depends on your strength alone. But that is not the truth. Your life is guided by something far steadier than the passing storms of your thoughts. Even in moments when you feel uncertain, there is a direction being prepared for you step by step. And sometimes, the greatest peace comes from realizing you do not need to see the entire path. You only need to trust the next step. So remain here for a little longer. Do not skip this final stretch. Because in the next part, a quiet but powerful realization will appear, one that can change the way you carry every worry from this moment forward. And now, pause for a moment and listen with your whole heart. What if the peace you have been searching for was never far away? What if it has been quietly waiting for the moment you decide to release what has been exhausting your spirit? So many people spend years trying to control every outcome, every possibility, every tomorrow. They believe that if they hold on tighter, they will finally feel secure. But peace does not grow from tighter grip. It grows from trust. The moment you place your worries into His hands, something subtle yet powerful begins to unfold. Your mind no longer needs to chase every answer. Your heart no longer needs to carry every unknown. Instead, a quiet confidence begins to rise within you. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you realize something greater is holding your story together. Something wiser than your fears, stronger than your doubts, and calmer than every anxious thought that once tried to overwhelm you. This is the turning point. The moment when anxiety stops leading your thoughts and trust begins guiding your steps. And if you stay with this message just a little longer, the next part will reveal a gentle practice that can help you release your worries again and again whenever they try to return. Now imagine a quiet moment that belongs only to you. No noise, no rushing thoughts, no pressure to figure everything out at once. Just a small space in your day where you pause, breathe, and gently place every worry you carry into stronger hands. This simple moment has more power than you realize. Because every time anxiety tries to return, you can come back to this same quiet place within your heart. A place where you remind yourself that the weight of every outcome does not belong on your shoulders. You only need to walk the path in front of you. And step by step, something beautiful begins to happen. The worries that once felt overwhelming begin to lose their grip. Your thoughts grow calmer. Your heart becomes steadier. Not all at once, but little by little. That is how real peace grows. It grows through small moments of trust repeated again and again, until one day you look back and realize the fears that once controlled your mind no longer hold the same power. And there is one final truth waiting just ahead, a realization that ties everything together in a way that may stay with you long after this message ends. Stay with me for this last moment. Something meaningful is about to come into focus. Before this moment passes, there is one final truth your heart needs to hear. The strength that carries the universe is not overwhelmed by the worries you carry today. The questions that feel so heavy to you are never too complicated, never too small, and never too late to place into His hands. You may not see every answer yet. You may still face moments when anxiety tries to return. But remember this gentle truth: you were never meant to carry life alone. Every time you release your worries, even in the quietest whisper of trust, you are opening the door to a deeper peace. And over time, that peace grows. One calm breath at a time. One surrendered worry at a time. One quiet moment of trust at a time. Someday you may look back on this season and realize something surprising. The anxiety that once filled your mind became the moment that taught your heart how to trust more deeply than ever before. So tonight, or wherever you are listening from, allow your heart to rest for a moment. The weight you have been carrying can be placed somewhere stronger. And when you do that, something gentle, steady, and powerful begins to rise within you. A peace that reminds you that no worry you face is greater than the strength that walks with you. And before you move on from this moment, let one more realization settle quietly into your heart. The strength you are seeking has never been far away. Even in the moments when anxiety felt loud and overwhelming, a deeper calm was still present, patiently waiting for you to notice it. It has been there in every breath you take. In every morning you wake up with another chance to move forward. In every small step you take despite the questions that linger in your mind. You are stronger than you think. Not because you have solved every problem, but because you continue walking even when the path feels uncertain. And when you place your worries into His hands, you are not losing control of your life. You are allowing a greater wisdom to guide what you cannot yet see. That is where true courage lives. It lives in the quiet decision to trust even when the future is still unfolding. It lives in the moment you release what has been weighing down your spirit. So hold on to this thought as we approach the final moment together. Because the next and last part will reveal a simple truth that can stay with you long after this message ends, a truth that can bring calm to your heart whenever anxiety tries to return.